Hi YouTube, welcome to another edition of Horror Hands, and I'm suited up for this one because for this video we're going to be talking about 5 horror films that had class. So we watch horror films for a variety of reasons. They can be scary, they can be gory, they can be violent, they can be disgusting, they can be funny. A variety of awesome reasons why we watch horror movies. But very few horror films, in my opinion, are classy. They don't seem to be able to or want to do that kind of thing. But there are a handful of horror films that were pretty classy. So I'm going to go through 5 of them that I think had class. So first up, from 1966, we have Eye of the Devil. So this stars David Niven, who in my opinion was one of the classiest actors to ever grace the screen. He didn't do many horror films, but he is in this one, and he plays like this really cool English nobleman, and he has to go back to his ancestral home in France for some kind of business. And this place where he lives, it's kind of, there's a strange sort of devil worshipping cult that are involved in the place. It's led by Donald Pleasance, and David Niven may or not be connected with this cult. It's a bit of a mystery until you get to sort of the end of the movie. But this is a really wonderful film, and David Niven gives an amazing performance. He's great as like this charming Englishman who may or may not be harbouring a dark secret. Deborah Kerr plays his wife. She's equally as captivating as what he is. She's trying to get to the bottom of the what's going on. Donald Pleasance is really creepy and sinister in this one. You've also got Sharon Tate, David Hemmings, really good cast in this. And there's some really nice picturesque locations. It all takes place in this big French mansion in the French countryside. And it's just a really nice, classy horror film. And like I say, everyone puts in a great performance, and it's just a really well made, very nice to look at, rather elegant production, and a pretty decent horror movie. So the first film on the list I think had class is Eye of the Devil. Okay, next up on the list we have The Innocence. So Deborah Kerr again, she gives another really wonderful performance in this film. She's like a governess living in this kind of 19th century Victorian mansion, and she's looking after these 2 orphan children, and weird, creepy things start to happen. And it's a really well-made ghost story. Is The Innocence. And it looks fantastic, very similar to kind of Eye of the Devil. It takes place this time in, I think it's England, in the English countryside. It looks really nice. It's been quite a while since I watched The Innocence, but I remember really liking it. But again, it's very elegant, classy production. Really well made film, and very effective on the ghost front as well. It was very atmospheric and very creepy. And yeah, wonderful, very believable performance by Deborah Kerr. Even the 2 young children were really good in it as well. They weren't annoying or anything like that. So it was a very refined, well-made horror film. So that's that one. Okay, next up on the list, I wanted to include something maybe a little bit different and represent classiness in different cultures, if you will. So the next movie on the list is Kuroniko, which is a Japanese film from 1968, and this is a really good, kind of sparse but atmospheric ghost story. These 2 women are raped and murdered on the road in like sort of rural Japan, and their ghosts, their spirits, come back to haunt people and kill men who were like travelling out and about in this Japanese countryside. And a brave samurai warrior is sent to that area to rid the place of the ghosts. But there's a bit more to it than that. He's linked to these women, unbeknownst to him at first. He has a connection to these women, which kind of then take on most of the story. But again, it's another really wonderful film. It looks amazing. It's black and white, but it's a really nice looking film. Very atmospheric. Again, very elegant in its presentation. And I like how it kind of deals with the lore of samurai and honor and things like that, which I'm no expert in Japanese culture, but I would imagine like the samurai at the time were a respectable kind of patron to be part of. And yeah, there's a lot of kind of loyalty and honor and things like that which are explored in this film. And as I say, just for a black and white film, it looks really nice. The cinematography is very crisp and yeah, has a really nice atmosphere and nuance to it. Does Kuroniko, and like I say, I do like that. So there's an ancient samurai element of the film as well. It's a really good combination with the kind of old-fashioned ghost story aspect that goes on. So yeah, Kuroniko, great movie. Okay, next up we have The Others. So I wanted to include a bit more of a modern film, although thinking about it, The Others is now over 20 years old, which is frightening. But again, pretty much the same deal with the Others. It's just a really nice, kind of wonderful, classy production. It looks great. This one, I think this is another British one, takes place in this big mansion in the British countryside, and Nicole Kidman and her children are being haunted by ghosts within the big house that they're living in. But I remember this one for having sort of really great set pieces and sort of internal locations. The lavish look of the mansion where they live is really nice. It's sort of both some really nice architecture, interior design and decoration, things like that. Sounds a bit silly, but I think it adds a lot to a horror film, especially like a creepy ghost story like The Others. And Nicole Kidman gives a wonderfully refined performance, very believable. Again, the kids in this are really good as well. And yeah, this is just another really nice, refined, classy ghost story and really well made horror film, in my opinion. So that is The Others. And the last movie on the list of horror films that had class is The Skull. So I wanted to include either a Hammer Horror or an Amicus movie on the list. Pretty much any one of those movies had a good degree of classiness to them. But I went for Amicus's The Skull because first of all, I wanted to pick a film that had both Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in it together. You can't get much more classy than those two. I wanted one of those films where they share a lot of screen time and they bounce off each other quite a lot, which they do in The Skull. And I kind of wanted one that perhaps wasn't so lurid. So I did think of perhaps like Dracula or Frankenstein. I considered Horror Express. But The Skull has a bit more of a classy location environment to it. I think it's sort of they're like professors and things like that. So they're in like, I remember it being they're in like the big rooms lined with books and things like that. It's a very academic kind of setting, and I think they're like professors or like occultists. And Peter Cushing has acquired the skull of the Marquis de Sade, which starts to kind of send him on a dark path. And what was really interesting about The Skull, because it's one that I watched many years ago, was it was one of the first times that I saw Peter Cushing as kind of the bad guy, the morally questionable character, and Christopher Lee as the voice of reason. Because I think up until then I'd seen like the Dracula films and maybe a couple of other things, and Christopher Lee was always the monster, he was always the bad guy, and Peter Cushing was the saviour who defeated evil. So it was very interesting all those years ago to see Peter Cushing in this very kind of immoral role where he gets kind of seduced by dark powers and things like that. And as I say, really nice, classy, elegant movie, really nice production to this one as well. So there you go, guys. Those are 5 horror movies that I think had class. Let me know what you think of these movies. Do you like them and do you agree with me on that? And feel free to let me know of any horror films that you think had a degree of classiness as well. I'd love to know what you think. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.